I wanted to do this review because there's a real difference between ultralight trekking poles and poles that are designed for the durability and where they have the money to invest in really premium products. The Gossamer Gear pole is, at this point, it's like a standard for if you want a really light pole. It's one of the lightest poles that you can get on the market. It's certainly one of the lightest ones that you can get easily. There are some poles that come out of Japan that may be lighter, and there's some argument that their carbon is more durable. A lot of people who have been hiking with the Gossamer Gear poles on my thru hikes really like them, and they are quite durable. So just because you don't have a pole that's as durable as the Black Diamond one doesn't mean that this one, if you are not super tough on it, won't work. I generally don't use trekking poles. I think that if you have a bag that's under 25 pounds, you don't need a trekking pole. But from time to time, I will pick one up so that I can descend on mountains quicker, and because it's much easier to put up my tarp and I don't have to search for a stick to do that. But then also, I will just use a pole as opposed to a trekking pole, which is much lighter. So holding both of them in my hands, the Black Diamond looks like a much more uh, premium product than the Gossamer Gear. You can see with the handles that one is real cork and the other one is just like colored cork. You also get this really nice rubber on the bottom of the Black Diamond one that you don't get on the Gossamer Gear. That means that when you're going uphill, you don't have to change the length of the pole. You can come down here and use this to sort of push yourself up the hill. If you're a ultralight backpacker, we all cut off the straps on the poles. You don't really need them, especially if you're through hiking. That can just cause more blistering. Even though you would think that having having a cork handle would be better, I found with trekking poles that the foam one that the Gossamer Gear is made out of is actually more comfortable and doesn't create as much blistering on your hands, especially at the beginning. If you're starting on the Pacific Crest Trail and you're in the desert, there's a lot more chance that you would get blistering. And so even though the foam is not as premium as real cork, I actually think it's more comfortable. They're both made out of carbon. Another major difference between the two is that the clips on the Black Diamond are these clips that you can just sort of push down. These are much easier and much more stable. You're not going to get as much slippage as these screw clips that you have on the Gossamer Gear trekking pole. Although these are a lot lighter, and that's why Gossamer Gear chose to use these. The ones on the Black Diamond are actually like real metal. These I know that Cash Money here, my hiking family member, she's been using these for forever, and they haven't broken. So that really shows that they're quite durable. When you look really close at the carbon, I don't know if you can see this on the camera or not. It's a different quality of carbon. I would imagine because the Black Diamonds are a lot more expensive that the carbon is higher quality. I don't know though. So the big difference is the weight. The Black Diamond trekking poles are about twice the weight of the Gossamer Gear trekking poles. So if you want to have a ultralight trekking pole, you'll likely want to have the Gossamer Gear. I talked to a lot of hikers that use trekking poles, and they say that, they like them because they're also using their arms to work out, and so they get their upper body as well. As a personal trainer, I don't really see how that's a thing, but if that's something that you think about, maybe it doesn't matter to have a heavier trekking pole that feels more premium, and then you would want the Black Diamond. But if from time to time you're going to be carrying your trekking poles, or you only use them from time to time, then you would want a trekking pole that was much lighter that you could put in your backpack and wouldn't increase your weight by a bunch. But the Gossamer Gear trekking poles are still around 4 ounces per trekking pole. So that's 8 ounces. That's half a pound. That's a lot of weight to spend on one piece of gear. That could make your torso length pad twice as long. That could make a 20-degree sleeping bag. You could instead use a 10-degree sleeping bag. You could go between a tarp and a tent. And so for that 8 ounce, so that's a decision that you need to make. So to conclude, super ultralight backpackers, in my opinion, it doesn't make a lot of sense to use trekking poles if you're under 25 pounds fully loaded, or 6 pound if you have a 6 pound base weight. But if you are going to use trekking poles, maybe you have a knee problem, maybe you just need more support so there's not as much impact going downhill, then I would pick the Gossamer Gear just because it's lighter. And if you're not using it all the time, it will be much lighter in your backpack. If you actually want to be working out your upper body and you don't really care about weight, and you're always using your trekking poles and you want a premium trekking pole, then something like the Black Diamond would make sense. The clips are way nicer. You get real cork. There's really nice rubber underneath, and so maybe you would decide on the Black Diamond trekking poles. So thank you for watching. The last time I made a trekking pole video, the comments blew up. People have a lot of opinions on trekking poles. So feel free to comment on your thoughts on trekking poles. I am not an expert on trekking poles. I don't use them a lot. I just had the opportunity to have two very different kinds of trekking poles in front of me because I'm at Cash Money's house right now, and she has a lot of really unique pieces of gear. So I thought I'd make a little video about that. So thank you so much.